In this video, we'll make a comparison between Samsung HW-Q990C soundbar and JBL Bar 1300, two high-end soundbars that offer immersive and powerful sound for your home theater system. We'll take a look at their sound performance, smart features, connectivity options, and pros and cons of each soundbar. Both the Samsung HW-Q990C and JBL Bar 1300 are high-end soundbars that offer excellent sound performance. They both feature 11.1.4-channel speaker systems, which means they have 11 speakers in the soundbar, 1 subwoofer, and 4 upward-firing speakers for height effects, and can produce immersive Dolby Atmos and DTS X surround sound. However, there are some key differences in their sound profiles. In terms of sound performance, both soundbars offer excellent sound performance, but the Samsung has a slight edge in terms of overall balance and clarity. The JBL has a bit more bass, but it can be a bit boomy at times. The Samsung also has a better soundstage, with more precise placement of objects in the soundfield. The Q990C has a more balanced and neutral sound profile out of the box, which can suit different types of audio content. It also has a graphic EQ and presets to adjust the sound to your preference. The JBL Bar 1300 has a more V-shaped sound profile, which emphasizes the bass and treble, making it more suitable for music and movies. It also has a graphic EQ and presets, but they are less effective than the Samsung's. The Samsung HW-Q990C can get louder than the JBL Bar 1300, and it has less compression at max volume, which means it can handle more dynamic sounds without distortion. The JBL Bar can still get loud enough for most situations, but it may struggle with some very loud scenes or music tracks. The Q990C has a better center channel performance than the JBL Bar 1300, which means it can reproduce dialogue more clearly and accurately. The JBL Bar 1300 has a decent center channel, but it may sound a bit muddy or thin at times. Looking at the subwoofer, the Q990C has a larger and more powerful subwoofer than the Bar 1300, which means it can produce more thump and rumble in the bass range. The JBL has a smaller subwoofer, but it still delivers a good amount of bass for most genres and movies. If this video is helpful to you, a subscribe would mean a lot to me. That tells me that I am building an audience and that I am creating helpful content. And don't forget to like this video, as it helps reach a wider audience and really supports the channel. Going further and looking at the smart features, both soundbars have built-in Wi-Fi, Chromecast, and AirPlay 2 support, which allow you to stream audio from various online services and devices. They also support Bluetooth for wireless pairing with smartphones or tablets. The Samsung HW-Q990C has a built-in voice assistant, which lets you control the soundbar and other compatible devices with your voice. You can also use the SmartThings app to integrate the soundbar with your smart home system. The JBL Bar 1300 does not have a built-in voice assistant, but it is compatible with third-party voice assistants such as Alexa and Google Assistant. Both soundbars have an auto-calibration feature, which optimizes the sound based on your room acoustics. The Samsung HW-Q990C uses SpaceFit Sound Pro, which uses the microphone of your Samsung TV to measure the sound. The JBL Bar 1300 uses multi-beam calibration, which uses the microphone of your smartphone to measure the sound. Samsung's Q Symphony is an advantage over JBL Bar 1300 because it can provide a more immersive and realistic sound field, especially for Dolby Atmos and DTS X content. The JBL Bar 1300 only uses the soundbar and the subwoofer to produce sound, while Q Symphony also utilizes the top and side speakers of the Samsung TV to create height and width effects. Both soundbars have HDMI inputs and one HDMI output, with ERC support, which allow you to connect multiple devices such as Blu-ray players, game consoles, or streaming boxes. They also support 4K HDR pass-through, which means they can transmit high-quality video signals from your sources to your TV without any loss of quality. However, neither soundbar supports HDMI 2.1 or 4K at 120Hz pass-through, which means they may not be compatible with some of the latest gaming features. Both soundbars have an optical input and a USB port for audio playback from external devices. They also have an aux input for analog audio sources. Here are some pros and cons of these two soundbars. Samsung HW-Q990C. Pros: more balanced and neutral sound profile, louder and less compressed at max volume, built-in voice assistant. Cons: wired surround speakers. When it comes to the JBL Bar 1300, here are some of its pros. Truly wireless surround speakers. Detachable rears can be used as Bluetooth speakers. Cons: less balanced and neutral sound profile, lower max volume and more compression. No built-in voice assistant. Looking at the design of the two sound setups, The Q990C is a long and deep soundbar with a metal mesh grille and a front side display. It has angled corners and rounded edges, giving it a sleek and minimalist look. It is finished in a dark gray or graphite color that Samsung calls Titan Black. The soundbar has 11 speakers, including 4 upward-firing drivers for height effects. It comes with a separate subwoofer and 2 wired rear speakers, which also have upward-firing drivers. The subwoofer is large and has a 10 inches driver. The JBL Bar 1300 is also a long soundbar, but it is slimmer and lighter than the Samsung HW-Q990C. It has a hard plastic grille and no display. It has straight edges and corners, giving it a more rectangular shape. It is only available in black. The soundbar has 7 speakers, including 2 upward-firing drivers for height effects. However, the soundbar's ends can be detached and placed at the back of the room as wireless rear speakers, which also have upward-firing drivers. This way, the soundbar can transform from a 5.1.2 system to an 11.1.4 system. The subwoofer is also large and has a 10 inches driver. In summary, the Samsung HW-Q990C and the JBL Bar 1300 have different designs that may appeal to different tastes and preferences. The Samsung HW-Q990C has a more elegant and robust design, but it also takes up more space and requires wires for the rear speakers. The JBL Bar 1300 has a more versatile and flexible design, but it also looks more plain and lacks a display. Both soundbars have large subwoofers with 10 inches drivers for powerful bass. The Samsung HW-Q990C and JBL Bar 1300 are both excellent soundbars. Ultimately, the best choice for you will depend on your personal preferences. If you are looking for the best possible sound performance and smart features, then the Samsung HW-Q990C is the better choice. It has a more balanced sound profile, a wider soundstage, and more smart features than the JBL Bar 1300. Both soundbars are excellent choices for creating a cinematic home theater experience with Dolby Atmos and DTS X support. However, I would personally prefer the Q990C over the Bar 1300 for the following reasons. I value sound quality over connectivity features, and I think the Q990C has a better sound performance overall, especially for dialogue and bass. I like the convenience of having a built-in voice assistant, and I think Alexa is more reliable and versatile than using an external device for voice control. I don't mind having wired surround speakers, as long as they deliver a more immersive sound from behind. I also don't need to use the rears as Bluetooth speakers, as I have other devices for that purpose. Therefore, I would recommend the Samsung HW-Q990C as the best choice for most users, unless you prefer a more wireless and flexible setup with detachable rears. Ultimately, the best choice for you will depend on your individual needs and preferences. If you are not sure which soundbar is right for you, I recommend listening to both of them in person before you make a purchase. For buying options and more information about this soundbars, check the links in video description, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Now, check out my 2 next videos. See you soon.